For gadget news and reviews, click to YourTechReport.com.
Welcome back to Your Tech Report. Mark Aflalo and Mitchell Whitfield with you on Twitter. It is at Your Tech Report, Facebook.com/YourTechReport. And if you go to YouTube.com/YourTechReport online, lots of cool videos. Congratulations to our winner of those beautiful headphones. But now it's time to switch gears, Mitchell Whitfield.
Oh, I see what you did right there. I see what you did with the switch gears.
And for the first time in 2017, welcome David Weir, our gaming editor from Glasgow, Scotland. David, welcome back. How are you?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Mitchell's a bit disturbed, I think, because that Nintendo Switch announcement last night caused issues in his emotions.
You know what? I don't know how you guys felt about it. It was a very, I'll say, unusual. First of all, we're all big Nintendo fans, grew up playing all the systems, very excited about the console. The takeaway from all of this, which we'll get to in a minute, is we're excited about this console, but the keynote, the press event, was very disturbing. Part of it was the English translation. The people who were doing the English translation were horrible. So it made it very staggered and very awkward. David, did you feel the same way as kind of an awkward presentation?
Yeah, it was. The translation especially was a little off, especially when certain people turned up.
It was very bizarre. A lot of the demos were kind of interesting, but you know what? Let's get to the event itself. Mark, you've seen it. David, I've seen it as well. Let's start from the very beginning. We actually have a release date now and a price point. The release date of March 3rd for most territories. Although does that include Europe as well?
No, that's worldwide.
Okay, that's worldwide release on March 3rd. Yep. Were you guys surprised by this? Because we all thought it would be coming the 19th, the 16th, possibly later. March 3rd was I think a lot of people were surprised by this.
I expected it, honestly, not to be seen until E3. I know that March was kind of there. I thought we'd get some information, but not actually see the console this quickly after an announcement like this.
Well, I think they said it would come out in March. They announced, we just didn't know what date specifically. And I think because of what you're saying, Mark, we all assumed it would be on the later end, as it almost always is when it comes to it. But David, price point, I think you guys both owe me one, because we have to pull up the record from the show where we made our predictions, and I said it had to come in below $349, and you guys said there's no way with a tablet. They came in at $299. What do you guys think of this?
I think it's $399 Canadian, so somehow I win.
No, that's not. That's just because it's a strong American dollar right now. But what do you price? I mean, Canadian being, of course, a little bit higher. Price point, good, bad. I think it kind of hits the sweet spot now.
Yeah, no, I'm really surprised by the price point. That said, though, I did mention that I would be disappointed if the tablet was less than 1080p undocked and was worrying about battery life, and battery life doesn't look great, and it's only a 720p tablet.
So that leads us into the specifications. What do we know about this actual device spec-wise, David?
Okay, so first things first, it's got a 720p tablet. Battery life's about 2.5 to 6.5 hours, depending
which is a big
on
range, right? That's a big range.
Depending on the game you're playing. For example, if you play the new Zelda game, it's only going to last about 3 hours. It's to do with processing power, pretty much.
Okay.
The other thing is, it charges with USB-C, which means that's finally becoming a standard on devices. So we don't have to worry about micro USB, we don't have to worry about lightning cables or things. It's a standard USB charger, so you can plug it into pretty much anything with a USB-C port, or a USB port for that matter.
And I think everyone right now at Apple is smiling, saying, hey guys, leave us alone about the MacBook Pro, because we're not the only one that's sort of adopting this new standard. The difference being, of course, that it will transmit, the actual Switch console will transmit its data, its video, over traditional HDMI. It won't be using USB-C for both charging and video, correct?
Yeah. It also comes with a custom Tegra processor, which is an upgraded version of the processor you find in the NVIDIA Shield. And it's only got 32 gig of internal storage.
Oh, internal storage. That's not RAM. That's actual storage for games and everything. No, that's your actual storage.
Okay.
Which, considering the fact that most new consoles have 500 gig.
But is that going to be expandable through SD or micro SD?
So you'll be expandable between micro SD and micro SD XD. So you can do... So I mean, those XC cards are now coming out at like 500 gig. There's terabyte ones at CES this year. I mean, this is not something you can't upgrade.
And you know what? Mark, I don't know how you feel about this, but I want to hear how you feel about this. Basically, internal storage to me for a console, obviously one of my Xbox One S's, I have 2 terabyte, and I love it because everything is internal. I don't have to worry about expandable storage. Everything's there. Yet, that being said, I don't really mind the Nintendo console coming in at 32 because I know it's expandable. I also know the games, traditionally Nintendo games don't take up as much room of internal storage as, let's say, a more visually demanding PS4 or Xbox One game would dictate. So I don't really mind it that much. I would have liked to have seen a bigger hard drive, a minimum of 128 or 256, but it's not a deal breaker for me. I don't know if it is for you guys.
As long as it's expandable in some way, shape, or form with the SD or an external hard drive, I don't think it's an issue whatsoever. If there was no expandability, if they took like the Apple route at this, where they had no expandability whatsoever, I'd say that's really annoying. Now,
Right,
David, in terms
right.
of the screen resolution, I don't think 720 on the portable version is really a deal breaker. I understand your point of view. I would almost have expected 1080p on the actual, the handheld unit itself, and maybe 4K when it's docked. That would have been
Right.
cool. That would have been neat.
That's
And something,
exactly.
yeah. But I mean, considering we're used to using things like phones, 720p on a handheld device like that, not a deal breaker in my mind.
Well,
I think it wouldn't be so much if it wasn't for the fact the screen's a lot larger than your average phone.
right.
I think that's where you're going to see the fidelity drop. I mean, yeah, if it was just like a smartphone screen, then fine. But I think a 6.2 tablet screen, you're going to see like a serious quality drop.
But you know what? Here's my feeling on this, and I want to move on because we have a lot more hardware and games to talk about as well. If you look at the Wii U, for example, okay? The Wii U, even though we know it's not a high-powered console, the visuals are not 1080p on the Wii U, the graphics, I still think, look brilliant. Even on the Wii U, and I'm talking right now about the Wii U actual tablet that you game on. I think that the graphics somewhere between 480 and 600, somewhere in between there. I don't think that bothers me. I think the graphics still look good because Nintendo's games tend to be stylized and tend to still look good in a lower resolution. So 720p for me is not a big deal. But I want to transition now, taking away from the console itself, and actually go to the other part of the hardware, which is the controllers. Guys, there are things with this Joy-Con controller, with these two Joy-Con controllers, things they can do that Nintendo kept pretty well hidden, including this new HD Rumble feature.
I saw
pretty
this
cool.
when they demonstrated this, and they compared it to holding a glass of water or an empty glass, and
Right.
you can feel the ice cubes coming into the glass and the water pouring into it. I need to get my hands on this. Like, this made it I must feel this to see how this could possibly be true. It reminds me of when Force Click, first came to the Mac.
Right.
See, I watched that and then just thought, do you remember when the Wii came out and everyone saw the Wiimotes and just went, that would make a really good Star Wars game, and then nothing really came of it? I looked at that and just went, I could feel the lightsaber turn on. Please, why? I want a Force game now that is Joy-Con in one hand for Force powers, the Joy-Con in the other as my lightsaber, and then turn into a Sith and murder everything. But,
And you know what? I don't know why we're surprised by hearing that, and I don't know why we're surprised with a Star Wars reference that you would put yourself on the dark side. To me, it's actually the perfect marriage. But we're talking about these two controllers. So when the system can be used in three modes. I think we kind of knew this. We have TV mode, which is traditional gaming console mode.
Docked.
You have the controller, docked. It's docked in its dock, the system. You have the Joy-Con controllers on its base, so it acts like a regular traditional controller, the two sides in the middle. And then you're playing a regular video game. Then we have, of course, what we call standalone mode or multiplayer split screen mode, where you actually take the tablet out and has a little kickstand, right, David?
yeah, Nintendo are referring to it as tabletop mode.
Tabletop mode, sorry. Okay, so tabletop mode.
And it has a little kickstand, and you can either use the controller as you would in TV mode, or you can separate them out and use them as sort of little Wiimote type ideas.
And you can even share those with friends. Like, you can actually play multiplayer games, give someone else your little remote, and actually play games against each other.
Yeah, and I think they're building this as sort of a social mode, because they said you could have up to 8 switches sort of daisy-chained wirelessly together to game together. If you don't want to have a couple of people or a few people hovering over one propped up on the table with the kickstand, each person using their own half of the Joy-Con, you can actually have multiple systems kind of daisy-chained together. And I think this is good. I think it really makes it sort of a more social console. And they also had some games that took advantage of these new controllers. What is it? What is it called? 1-2 switch? Is that what it's called?
1-2 switch is like the back and forth, kind of like you can have various things where you're going against each other. There was
and you don't even have to interact with the screen, right?
Well, that was the
you
point.
You don't have to interact with the screen.
Go ahead, David.
No, the 1-2 switch was their sort of mini game sort of collection of various games that you could play, even like quick draw things that you didn't actually have to be looking at the screen to do. Only thing is, I looked at it and went, "Why is this not a WarioWare game?" Because that's exactly what that game is. It was just like you could have just used WarioWare and we'd have all bought it instantly.
They could have put a proprietary skin on it, made it familiar, and made it instant sales. Now, am I crazy here, guys? Because we're talking about, of course, all the games that are going to be coming out now. I want to talk about that now in terms of release date. Am I nuts? Or as far as we can see, of course, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, well, that's another big reveal, will be a release title on March 3rd. There was a lot of talk about, was it going to get pushed back? Would it actually make the release? As far as I can see, though, the only 2 release day titles are 1-2 Switch and Breath of the Wild. Is that right, or am I missing something?
No, so far that's the only titles that have been confirmed for launch. Super Mario Odyssey is not coming out till November of this year. Splatoon 2's coming out in summer. I think Mario Kart 8 Deluxe comes out in launch as well.
I didn't see a launch date. I didn't see a launch date for that. Which is, and this is what. Here's a big picture question for you guys: is Nintendo falling into the same trap? And Nintendo has always put out good consoles, great first-party games, Mark and David. But are they falling into the same trap, which is they release these consoles and don't release software even within a release window? And I'm talking about release day right now, but release window extends out a few months.
Yeah.
Are they falling into the same trap of not supporting their new systems with first-party games? Because it seems to me that's the same issue we're going to have with this system.
Oh, I don't think that's even slightly a doubt. I think we're going to have that everywhere. I think from the point it comes out in March 3rd, I don't think we're going to see a brand new first-party title, apart from Zelda, until midsummer. And that's just too long.
And the Mario game is going to be coming out, I don't know, I think they said Splatoon maybe in April, Mario not coming out maybe till summertime, is that right? I know we have these...
Splatoon comes out in the summer.
Splatoon is summer.
Yeah,
okay.
And Mario is holiday 2017.
Didn't they say that Zelda's going to come out on launch on Jimmy Fallon?
Yeah, no, Zelda's coming out on launch.
It is on launch.
No, but Jimmy Fallon, they had not announced at that point, guys, that Zelda would officially launch with the Nintendo Switch.
Gotcha.
There was no announcement. I think there were a lot of rumors about that. Here's my issue. When you look at a game like Mario Kart 8, there's an updated version of Mario Kart 8 that they're coming out with, right?
Yeah.
That is basically a port, a reskin of an existing game that's been out for years now.
Yeah.
It's a first-party title. We're not talking about them taking a third-party title and having to port and convert it into Nintendo's system. It's a Nintendo game built on a probably very similar system to the Switch, yet that's not going to be ready for launch. I don't know why Nintendo does it. And I'm excited about this console. I want to have games to buy. It just seems odd to me that even a first-party game that's a port of an older game with some new bells and whistles can't be around for launch. I don't know why they're doing that.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you on that one. I think we need to see what... I think Nintendo also will be telling us more stuff towards the end of the start of the launch. We might see better things. Honestly, though, I mean, we're at a point where all we can do is wait and see.
Obviously, they wanted to get the console out. So March 3rd is the launch date. We said it's like at $299 in the US or $249?
$299 in the US.
$299 in the US. It's $399 in Canada. How much is it for you, David, and overseas? It's $249?
No, 279 British pounds. That's including tax, unlike your prices.
Yeah, thanks.
Why does he have to get a little dig in there? He always has to get a dig in there.
There's more Your Tech Report after this.